What's up, fans? I'm Gabe Henderson. It's Friday. Kyle Stackpole joins me. Kyle, how you doing today, man?
Pretty good, man. Can't complain. Happy Friday morning.
Payday.
For the weekend. Payday, too. Wow.
Payday.
Yeah.
Well, I know you guys are probably wondering why we are here. Every Friday from here until the start of training camp in Richmond, Virginia, we're going to be doing a podcast right here at Redskins Park. Kyle will join me. Some Fridays we'll have a guest. We might have a player. It's going to be fun. I already know Kyle is going to bring the energy. He's one of our staff writers, so you know this guy is really into the team. He knows this stuff. I feel like I know my stuff too, but Kyle's going to be a great co-partner with me on this show. We're going to have a lot of things to talk about. First and foremost, we're going to talk about the rookies. We're going to talk about some of the vets, where they fit in with the guys. It's going to be a lot of good content coming out of Redskins Park. I feel like what we do is so unique because outside members of the media, no offense to them, outside members of the media, they have their designated days that they can come. But for us, we have the luxury, since we're employees here, we have the luxury of, seeing these guys every day, knowing what they talk about in the locker room, seeing them, on and off the field. We have some of the exclusives that no other media member gets to have. And I think we just start off with, getting to know me and you. I mean, fans want to know, like, who are these guys on TV? Who are these guys in these Redskins shirts? So I'm going to let you start, Kyle.
All right, yeah,
who are
sounds
you?
good.
How long have you been here? How did this thing come about with you being a staff writer for the Redskins?
All right, yeah, Gabe. First of all, happy to be here. I'm really excited to do this podcast. I feel like I have so many thoughts about the Redskins and don't always get to talk about it with people. I get to write on the website, but I'm looking forward to actually dissecting players and seeing where this team can get to before training camp. So I started here a couple months ago, actually, started March. And yeah, we went to the University of Maryland, journalism major.
Terps, baby.
Terps. So I've been pretty much, doing journalism, wanted to do it since high school. So this is, a dream come true, being able to come here and cover the Redskins, cover a professional organization, and do it from inside of the organization where, the access, being able to, just talk to players and coaches, build relationships. So I'm just excited. So I haven't been able to do this that much. So I'm more of a written content guy. Yeah. So being able to just talk with you every Friday, get to interact with the fans, potentially some guests, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I feel like every time I get on the website, there's a new Kyle Stackpole article on the website. I feel like you're like pumping out articles every day, man.
We're writing all the time. We're trying to give the readers what they want. I mean, especially now, like the next couple of weeks, they're going to be starving for content. So we'll have plenty of stuff on redskins.com, both in the written format, video stuff with you and the other producers. But enough about me, man. I mean, you're the veteran here, so man, I'll leave the floor to you.
I've been there a year now. So I've been there a year. I was here last season. So we all know how last season went. It was a great first year for me, just learning the guys, learning the team. I played football in college, so I had that experience, from a college or professional standpoint. I worked out for a few teams when I played football at Liberty University.
Brag.
Humble brag. That's why we're here today. But it's really cool to be here. Really cool to learn the ins and outs of the game, know some of the things behind the scenes that fans don't get to do. And I look at myself as that middle. Well, both of us, we look at ourselves as that middleman. We get to talk to the players and we're delivering this, idea, this opinion that the players have given us, and we're delivering this idea, putting it in a written visual art perspective and, sharing it with the fans, sharing it with the world. But enough about me. Let's start talking about these players a little bit, man. I mean, the rookies came in full throttle. I mean, starting with rookie minicamp, we've seen a lot of guys come in, a lot of guys come out, a lot of surprisers, a lot of people that, we had a lot of questions about that they answered. But who have been some guys that stood out to you? Before we get there, I would just want to let everybody know we're going to go player by player. We're starting with the offense, then going on the defensive side of the ball, player by player, showing, talking about what they showed, what they'll bring to this team. But just from a general, overview, what were your biggest takeaways from some of these rookies?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't talk about the offense and the rookies without obviously talking about Dewayne Haskins. Yeah. I mean, 15th pick in the draft. Seen by many as potentially a future of the franchise going forward. Yeah. So just being able to see him during OTAs and minicamp and rookie minicamp, you can see I wrote this yesterday. There are plenty of reasons to be excited about him. I mean, you see the arm strength, just the size, the general presence. He has a confidence about him that it doesn't feel like he's a rookie.
Yeah.
He feels like he knows that he belongs in this stage and belongs in contention for a starting spot.
Right.
So you could see that. You could also see times where he looked like a rookie.
Right.
So he had a couple passes, overthrew a couple guys.
That's going to happen.
Exactly. And other times, you maybe not knowing the playbook the best, you maybe have to run back through some stuff. But from everything the coaches have said, they love the physical tools. They've been talking about that before they drafted him. And they think he's progressing nicely. There's still a long way to go, but from what I've seen, there's potential there for sure.
For sure. And just building on that with Dewayne Haskins, you hear all these stories, you see all these people writing and talking about him, but when you get a compliment from Doug Williams, I was talking to Doug Williams the other day, and he basically said, I was like, Doug, who's since you've been out of the league, since you won your Super Bowl, you've had a good career, but who's a quarterback now that reminds you of you when you played? And he named a few guys, but he said there is one guy in particular, Dewayne Haskins. He's like, when the ball releases from his hand, he was like, it's just something about the way he releases the ball. It reminds me of myself. Guy has a big arm. I mean, he has, the things that he has to work on just being a rookie. But it was like Dewayne Haskins is one of those guys. He's big like I was. I mean, not the best, not the biggest runner. He's not a run first guy. I'm not going to say best runner, but he's not a run first guy. And just how he throws the ball, how he, looks for people down the field. I mean, his eyes are always moving, and he stays in the pocket. And of course, one of his big targets in minicamp and going back to college, which brings us to our next person, is Terry Maclaurin.
Yeah.
What do you think about that guy?
Yeah, so, I mean, Terry Maclaurin obviously played at Ohio State with Dewayne, and you could see that connection. So with Dewayne still working through all the formations and play calls and reads, whenever he hooks up with Terry, it just looks different because they've been doing it for a couple of years. So, and he's been super impressive to me. I mean, they were really high on him coming into the draft, and they were really high about his character and his work ethic, and it's really showed. He's making a lot of plays out there. He has the speed to take the top off of the defense, and I think they just love what he can become because of what the person that he is.
Right.
You can sense that he's a guy who's going to put in the work necessary and listen to the coaches and do what needs to be done to get to that spot and get to that being a big receiver, contributing receiver on this team. Plus, he was the number one guy on Redskins draft board for special teams.
Exactly. That's a good point. That's a really good point.
And we talked to special teams coordinator Nate Katzer. Wanted to make sure I said that right, Nate. A couple days ago, and someone asked about it, and he was like, special teams, you need guys that are strong, fast, and tough. And he has all those things. And so it's more about balancing how many reps he gets a receiver versus how many reps he gets at special teams, because he wants to be out there all the time. And with those kind of guys, you don't want to overwork them. So personally, I've loved what I've seen from him. It's going to be, I know fans are excited if they can, whenever this happens or if it happens, seeing, Haskins throwing the ball to Terry.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Fans will lose their mind.
They're going to go crazy. So I like what I've seen so far. I mean, what do you think of him?
I think he's like you said, he's not a big guy. He's a strong, just mentally strong guy. I mean, a lot of people, I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think he will have that learning curve that a lot of rookies have, because he comes in, so mentally strong, so mentally tough. Just his mindset alone just separates him from any other guy. His mindset is anything you want me to do. And I know a lot of guys say that, but he's a guy, he's after practice every day, he's working on special teams blocking. A lot of guys, he's going to go do the jugs, but how many guys do you know that's going to stay outside of practice working on releases for, punt team? Like his thing is, I just want to find a way on the bus. A way on the plane in this instance. In college, it's a way on the bus. But in NFL, it's like, I just want to find a way. I just want to get my butt in one of those 53 seats on that plane. And the way he's going, he's not going to have a hard time doing that. He works hard. He does everything he needs to do.
Yeah, so we talked about Terry Maclaurin. So Redskins also drafted another receiver in NC State, Kelvin Harmon.
Yep.
Huge production at NC State, big
Bully.
possession guy. So I'll let you start on what you've seen from Kelvin and how you think he fits in with the wide receiver group here.
I think Kelvin's a bully. Like he's 6'3", he's about 215, 220. Anytime the ball's in the air, he's going to come down with the ball. I mean, I don't know. I really like this guy simply because he just has that will to just go get it. Like if there's a ball in any vicinity of him, wherever his hands are, his mindset is, okay, if I can catch that ball, I'm coming down with the ball. If I don't catch it, nobody's catching it. And just having a guy like that on the team that knows how to use his body, that knows he's not the fastest guy, but he knows his body. He knows he has long strides. He knows, how to get in and out of a route. He's just so physically gifted. There are some things that I know Ike Waddell is going to Ike Hilliard. I said Ike Waddell. Ike Hilliard is going to.
Who's Ike Waddell?
I don't know.
Is that even a person?
It might be. Might need to Google that. I don't know who Ike Waddell.
You can look it up after the show. Ike Waddell.
I think I know Ike Waddell. I just don't know who it is. But Ike Hilliard, I can already know he's going to have, some things going on, some things to coach with Kelvin Harmon. And a lot of those things that he's going to coach is just tuning up that raw talent that Kelvin Harmon has.
Yeah.
And that's a good problem to have as a coach. What about you?
Yeah, so, you pretty much hit the nail on the head with everything you said about him physically and what he'll be able to do. Ike Hilliard talked about him, I guess it was last week during mandatory minicamp, and he was saying that Kelvin texts him more than Ike would like sometimes, just about anything, just about plays and just wanting to get better.
Yeah.
And having talked to him in a bunch of different settings, and we did a Meet the Rookie series with all these guys.
Yeah.
He just seems like he's all business. He just wants to get on the football field. He just wants to play. He just like you said, he just wants to bully people and find spots in the defense and move the chains.
Right.
So between him and Terry Maclaurin, it seems like the Redskins have added two pieces that could potentially come contributors right away.
Right.
Which is going to probably be necessary.
For sure. It's Kelvin Harmon as an outside receiver. He's one of the, other than Josh Doxson, Kelvin Harmon is one of the only bigger receivers that we have that can, stretch the field. Terry McLaurin is going to be a good guy in the slot. He can play inside and outside, but like you said, special teams is going to be big. One guy that we didn't get to see much of, and we probably won't talk too long about it, is Bryce Love. We saw what he did at Stanford. We know his potential. It's just the fact of him getting that opportunity. What do you like about Bryce Love?
Yeah, I think that I feel bad for the guy, honestly, because if he came out for the NFL draft last year, he probably was going to be a first-round pick based on, I think he had 2,000 yards rushing at Stanford. It was unbelievable. Heisman Trophy runner-up. So he stays another year, he gets hurt, and then he drops. And I think people were kind of putting him under the radar.
Yeah.
I think he's just a guy that can add another change of pace. If I don't know when exactly he's going to be back, but with AP and Geis and CT and Samaje, he's a guy that when healthy can provide another dimension, and he's intelligent enough, and he's going to know how he can contribute and what unique role he's going to play within this running back group. So I've talked to him a couple times. Seems like really bright. And obviously he has the skill set from college and the production to match. So I like what I've seen. Yeah.
What do you think about Wes Martin, the guy from the guard, Indiana? He's a lunch pill guy. He's going to work hard every day. But what do you think about him?
Yeah, I like Wes Martin a lot. From his off the field stuff, I know he started a dog rescue nonprofit with his mother, and so he just seems like a really down to earth guy, but also a guy that just wants to work and just wants to put people on their back.
Right.
So Redskins are looking for someone to start at left guard opposite Brendan Sheriff, and he's been taking those reps so far, and so I think they're expecting big things of him right away, and if he can step in and produce, that's going to be huge for an offensive line that had a bunch of injuries last year.
Right.
So, what have you seen from Wes?
I just like his mentality. Similar to Kelvin Harmon, I personally, applaud and respect guys who just come in just ready to work. They don't really care about, outside noise. They don't really care about swag. Like the guy, I mean, he wears all of his team issued stuff. Team issued cleats, team issued gloves, and that's it. I mean, he gets his ankles taped, and it's like, hey, who do I block today? And like just having that mindset of like, hey, I don't know what's next, but I know whatever you ask me to do, I'm going to give 110%. And he's one of those guys I feel like the way he's progressing, he might make competition really, really, really big at that left guard position. I mean, him, Ross Pierce-Backer, who's coming in, who's our next guy, those two guys are solid. I mean, really, really solid, especially Ross Pierce-Backer, just from his
I think it's Pierce Baker.
Pierce Baker?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Pierce Baker. Ross Pierce Baker. We'll have to get Ross to confirm. I'm pretty sure it's Pierce Baker.
Okay.
But
I think
either way,
Backer, he's going to get to some linebackers this year on that second level. So
all right, you know what? I'm okay with that joke. I'm okay with that joke.
Another dad joke. I'll have a few. Trust me, I'll have a few for these next few weeks that we'll be here. But Ross, Wes, they're going to be solid. I feel like they're going to be solid contributions to this O-line. But what can you say about Ross?
Yeah, I think Ross and Wes, another thing they bring is experience. So I think Wes Martin was a 3-year starter at Indiana. It might have been 4, but he started.
Oh, you're talking about Ross or Wes?
No, Wes.
Wes, yes, Indiana. Yes.
So Wes started a ton of games, and then Ross too was a 4-year starter. He started his first 3 years at guard, and then at Alabama, and then he moves over to center for his senior year, and he becomes an All-American. So I think for positional player, he had the most starts in Alabama history.
Insane.
So getting 2 linemen like that who have so much experience playing on the highest level of college is huge coming in, because that they're durable and that they're consistent.
Right.
And I think that's really all you can ask for when you're first drafting offensive linemen, and then you just need to see what they show in practice. So, but what I've seen for both of them, they're working together at a lot of drills. It seems like they're creating a bond, the rookie linemen together. So,
right.
I mean, we'll see, but I like the experience a lot.
You talk about durability, and Ross definitely brings that to the table. The other day I asked him, I was like, hey, you played in 4 national championships, right? Or you went to the playoffs 4 times. He was like, yeah. I was like, what makes those games so much different than, a regular season game? He was like, probably just the weight. It's like for a regular in-season game, I mean, you fly to the game a day beforehand, so it's probably a 18 to 24-hour wait. He was like, when we played Clemson a couple years ago, he said, I mean, we were at the hotel for 3 or 4 days. We didn't know what to do. He was like, so you got this wait, you're just ready to play. You're just like, oh my gosh, like, can this game get here already? And then once the game gets here, it feels like 30 seconds. But just having, that big time experience in those big time games, I think that would translate well to, the NFL, to this team. I feel like, he's a rookie. So, I mean, a veteran's not going to learn much from him, but just having that Saban way, mentality, playing in a big time organization, having, that mindset, that type of experience, that type of capability is going to be solid for, this Redskins O-line.
Yeah. So I think those are the offensive draft picks. It seems like a lot of them have been making an impact one way or another. And so I think we should go. You want to go defense now? You got anything else to say about the offense?
No, I think,
final thoughts?
Final thoughts on the offense. I think this is a special group. I'm not sure what guys would I'm not sure what guys will, make immediate impacts, right away. But I think there are a few guys on this list, and Terry McLaurin, a guy in my opinion, who I think week 1 against Philadelphia, he'll be on that field, whether that's, receiver, it'll be more likely special teams. But he's one of those guys, in my opinion, that will, make a huge contribution right away. And we'll see the benefits of that, and fans will see the benefits of it. Fans are going to be really high on Dewayne Haskins. I mean, that's a work in progress. That competition is still open.
Yep.
So I mean, he can still win that. He can still win that job. Case Keenum can still win that job. Colt McCoy can still win that job. So it's going to be a great competition. I'm very excited for camp with these competition battles. Not only the quarterback room, the receiver room also. So I'm lineman room also, offensive lineman room also.
Yeah,
So I mean, I'm just very excited just to see these competition battles in training camp. What about you?
Yeah, so I mean, you were talking about Terry McLaurin. You think he's going to make a big impact immediately? Dwayne Haskins potentially.
Yeah.
Whatever happens as the season goes on and the competition.
I thought you said whatever Haskins, but yeah,
I probably should have said
that. That's my second dad joke.
I probably should have said that. I got to get more hip to that. But another guy that coaches and fans and we think is going to make a big impact defensively is Montez Sweat.
Oh, for sure.
So Redskins traded it back into the first round to get Montez, and everything we've seen from him so far makes it seem like that he's an immediate contributor, a guy who could start opposite Ryan Kerrigan right away.
Yeah, he is a man-child. Just a fun fact about him. He's from Georgia, of course. He's from near the Atlanta area. And I was asking him, I was like, hey, Donald Glover, a few other rappers and actors went to your school. I was like, if this football thing didn't work, would you act? He was like, nah. And he left it at that. And I was like,
he just wants to play football.
That's all he wants to do. And you got to love a guy like that on your team. That's just, hey, who am I lining up against? Oh, that's the quarterback. Okay, that's my job. I'm gonna go get him. He's a grown man.
Yeah, I remember during our Meet the Rookie series, he was talking about football. I guess it was before rookie minicamp, and he was saying, he's like, yeah, I can't wait to get back to football. It's my first love for real.
Yeah.
I just miss it, and you can hear in his voice how much he just misses getting back on the field. And then he gets back on the field for rookie minicamp, and he just looks like he shouldn't be there. He looks like he was a veteran among a man among boys, essentially, just based on his size and his speed. And then even through rookie minicamp and into minicamp and OTAs, he still looked like he should be out there.
Right.
Opposite Ryan Kerrigan, along with John Allen and Deron Payne. He just looked the part. And then you can see it rushing the quarterback.
Yeah.
Just the speed and size is so unique. And then you add the technique and the production that he had at Mississippi State. I mean, he was a first-team All-American. It's not just the skill set; it's what he's done with the skill set.
Right.
And he's been really impressed with me so far.
Did you see that picture? Garrett Campbell. Garrett Campbell is one of our team photographers. Garrett Campbell took a picture yesterday, 2 days ago, and it was a picture. It was Deron Payne in the front. No, it was Matt Ioannidis, John Allen, Ryan Kerrigan, and then Montez Sweat behind him. They were lined up in a row. And
I did see that.
You saw that? Ioannidis, John Allen, and Kerrigan. They're big guys.
Yeah.
Solid. I mean, Ryan Kerrigan's 6'3", 6'4"?
I think so, yeah.
But when I saw Montez Sweat standing beside all three of those guys, I was like, yo, that's a big dude, man.
Yeah.
He was towering over those guys.
Yeah, it didn't even look like, okay, Montez, you know where he is.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, that's a D line.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then you realize that Montez hasn't even played a game yet. But
exactly.
He definitely looks the part.
You got a nickname for him?
Montez?
Yeah. I heard people saying make him sweat. Montez. Make him sweat.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I haven't figured anything out yet.
Stevie, you got a nickname for him?
I was going to say, you talk about a bully. He looks like a bully.
That's true. That's true. Well, so Mason Foster, he was talking about him, and he called him a monster.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Kerrigan was talking about him, was saying, he has the size, and then he has a 4.5. What do you run?
4.41.
4.41?
Bro, 4.41.
So 4.41 speed and that size, and Kerrigan was just like, oh my God. It's these guys who have been in the league, who have produced in the league, seeing a guy like this. It's exciting.
He's running faster than running backs.
Yeah.
He's running faster than receivers. I think he ran a faster 40 than Kelvin Harmon.
That is nuts. And now just imagine that running straight at the quarterback.
Dude.
Whenever they're passing.
Scary. Scary sights. Going to scary. I think Cole Holcomb can be scary.
Yeah.
What do you think about Cole?
Yeah. So, I mean, everything, you got to like everything about Cole Holcomb just based on, he's just based on his work ethic and his character.
Okay.
So, being a walk-on at UNC and then moving up to becoming, I think
he was three-year starter,
right?
team captain his senior year.
He had 100 tackles every year, and Gruden raves about him in terms of his speed and his athleticism.
Yeah.
And he's gonna obviously take some time to learn, and he seems like a real cerebral guy too, which is another thing that coaches have been high about him about. But so I think especially with the loss of Reuben Foster to the linebackers, he could be a guy that could take advantage of that opportunity, along with guys like
He
John
won't be
Bostic.
Reuben Foster, though. What Reuben Foster brought to the table, I don't think any player in the league can do that.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. But I'm just saying, with him not available, Cole,
it opens up the door for him.
His development it's going to probably be sped up a little bit, and they might ask him to do a little bit more in addition to special teams. So Manusky was high on him, Rob Ryan. It seems like even though he might not have the pure size and being a walk-on and being a late-round pick, it seems like he is going to find a way to get himself on the field in certain situations. So
I think you hit it right on the head. He's a cerebral guy. So he knows how to fit up. He knows where he needs to be. When I watched some of his highlight tape when I watched some of his college highlights, you didn't see many plays where he's like taking a lineman on head on. I mean, he understands the game. He understands using that off shoulder to absorb some of the impact and then fit in the hole, and then use that opposite arm to tackle the running back, whoever's coming in the hole. So I mean, like he knows his fits, and being an undersized, like you said, you have to be smart. I mean, think of Sean Dion Hamilton. He's not the biggest guy, but he's smart. He's smart with what he does. He's smart with his keys. He's always forward thinking, and I think Cole Holcomb he probably will make an immediate impact special teams, but when he gets his number called on in the NFL, I think he will be ready just because of the way he thinks of things. When you talked about Kelvin Harmon, bugging Coach Ike, hey, Ike, what do you think about this? Texting him. That's Cole Holcomb on the defensive side. He's always texting Rob Ryan, like, hey, I saw this in practice, or I saw that in practice. I mean, you and I, we're here late every day. So we're always working.
So we see him,
Exactly. He's one of the last people to leave every day. I mean, one of the first people to get here. So you know that hard work and that dedication is going to pay off.
Yeah, for sure. So before we get to Jimmy Moreland, the People's Corner.
The People's
John Kine from ESPN coined that phrase. I love it. So
I love it too.
I'm going to be using it all the time. Self-proclaimed pick machine, Jimmy Moreland. We're gonna save him for last.
Let him drive the boat.
So so let's go to Jordan Brailford.
A lot of people aren't talking about him.
Yeah. What have you seen from him so far? I mean, I know he's 7th round pick. He was right at the end of the draft, not Mr. Irrelevant, but I think the pick before. So some people might have just written him off. But I mean, what have you seen from him so far?
You know why I think people have written him off? Because when you see a Montez Sweat, you forget about everything. Like your entire thought process of what a defensive end should be. You completely wipe that out of the way, because it's like, oh, we got Montez Sweat. He runs a 4.4. He's 6'6". He's 270 or 260. And then you kind of overlook a Jordan Brailford. Jordan Brailford is still 6'3", 270, 280. Jordan Brailford is still running a 4.7. Jordan Brailford still –
he led the Big 12 in sacks last year.
Exactly.
So
I think this guy can be special. Like I honestly think he's going to be one of the bigger sleepers in this draft. Of course, Kelvin Harmon, you can say he's going to be the biggest sleeper, but in my opinion, in this entire draft class, I think Jordan Brailford is the sleeper in this draft class. I'm not sure what immediate impact he's going to make, but I think when he gets on the field this year, he's gonna make some plays. I mean, he's fast. I mean, just watching him in practice, just watching him in some of those drills, he's so explosive.
Yep.
Like I said, I mean, he does go right after Montez Sweat, so it's like, oh well, it's a little underwhelming.
Exactly.
But that guy is good.
Yeah.
What have you seen?
Yeah, so I mean, pretty similar to you. Between the size and the production in college and just being explosive during drills. But the one thing that stood out to me was during a red zone drill. I'm not sure if it was OTAs or minicamp, but it was Case Keenum did some sort of a bootleg. So he was out on the left side by himself, and it was just him and Brailford. And Keenum could have thrown the ball for a touchdown, try to run around him, and Brailford just stayed with him. It was almost like he was like covering him in basketball, and he just kind of like blanketed him, had his hands up.
Yeah.
And I think Keenum ended up, he would have gotten sacked. Like he didn't even get the ball off.
Pretty sure Jake Gruden was saying, let him throw.
Yeah, probably. But that was just impressive to me that you're one-on-one with a guy who's been in the league for a while and he has so many other options and you have no idea what he's going to do. And then his ability to not only get his hands up but also stay with him so he can't run around him. So that seemed like a heady play and something from a rookie that you can cling on to and really compliment, going forward.
And to build off of that, it's hard to judge a guy when pads aren't on. So I mean, when it's just jerseys and shorts, you can't really judge the offensive defensive line per se.
Yeah.
But there was a week this offseason when they did wear shoulder pads, and when they wore shoulder pads, Jordan Bradford were still dominating.
Yeah.
That's why I think this guy can be really good. It's because just his hips around the corner, just his hand. There's so many small details at that defensive end position. We call it outside linebacker in the NFL or here. But at that position, there's so many small, minute details that, you have to do in order to be successful. Think of Von Miller. I mean, he's long. He's not the tallest guy, but he's long, and he knows how to bend around the corner. Jordan Bradford reminds me of Von Miller.
Okay.
He reminds long arms. I mean, he's lengthy. He's fast. He just knows how to play football. I mean, his snap. I mean, his what do you call it? I mean, just his snap awareness.
Okay.
I mean, he can time when the quarterback is going through his cadence.
Get off. I guess.
Get off. Yes.
Is that what you're
yes.
trying to say?
Yeah, I'm not a football guy.
You are the football guy. I mean, I played in high school, but you're the football guy. So.
Bro, you're the insider.
I'm just feeding you that football lingo.
I appreciate that. I need that. It's Friday, so I need anything right now.
Exactly.
But I think he can be a Von Miller type of guy, a guy that's fast, can come around the corner, a smaller, size guy, but at the same time, his get off, his snap awareness, his just ball playing, his ball, playmaking abilities, can be a factor in this defense.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up here. Trying to keep these semi short, and it's also a Friday.
We're gonna wrap it up with the People's Corner, right?
The People's Corner, yeah. So Jimmy Moreland, 7th rounder out of James Madison, and he's arguably been, or at least in my opinion, the biggest standout. Standout among the rookies. He had 3 interceptions in one day, which defensive coordinator Greg Minuski has never seen. He's been coaching for 20 years. I think he had 5 interceptions in. That's it. I think 5 interceptions in the practices open to the media.
That's good. When it counted.
When the people showed up, he showed out, basically. So, and he's just a guy. He had 18 picks in college, and he's undersized. And you look at him, but the production obviously doesn't lie. So he just has unique ball skills, and he's just always around the ball. There was one play where I think it was a screen pass to a running back, and he just basically touched the guy, grabbed the ball, and started running the other way.
It was I think it was like a little out route. Was it the Byron Marshall? It might not have been Byron Marshall.
I think it was. It might have been a wide receiver.
I just know it was like a little out route.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Moreland was playing cornerback on and trying to like make
left side.
On the left side, and the running back was running right, coming towards Jimmy Moreland.
Yeah.
The ball, it was a perfect throw. He caught it in his hands, inch in front of his face mask, and I don't know how Jimmy Moreland got there, but I just vividly remember him literally taking the ball out of the receiver's hands, basically saying, "Hey, that's mine."
Yep.
And you can see Greg Minuski eyeballs just light up, like not even believing what he saw, and like just that playmaking ability is what makes Jimmy Moreland so special. He's a small guy. He's a smaller guy like Honey Badger. I'm doing all these comparisons right now.
You were making some big comparisons.
I'm not going to say he's Honey Badger, but that's the first person that comes to mind. A guy that's smaller that makes plays on the ball and just finds his way to the ball. I feel like Jimmy Moreland had an interception every practice, this rookie minicamp, OTAs, and so on and so forth. And we will see when the pads come on. But one thing that stood out to me, and Kevin O'Connell was mic'd up. We posted on Redskins.com a few weeks back. And the beginning of the video, you could see Kevin O'Connell walk up to Jimmy Moreland while they're stretching. He was like, "Hey, like, bro, you had how many interceptions in college?"
Yeah, I remember that.
He's like 18. He was like 18. He said, and they still kept throwing it to your side. He's like, yeah. So Kevin O'Connell walked back and started talking to one of our recruitment managers, whose name is Drew. And he was like, "Hey man, that guy had 18 interceptions in college. If I'm a quarterback coach, I ain't throwing his way. And then as a DB, that's the compliment that you want.
Yep.
And he puts that, I wouldn't even say fear, but he puts that in quarterback coach's mind. It's basically saying like, hey, if I throw it to this guy's side, chances are it might be the ball might be coming back my way.
Yep.
So he puts that in the DB's mind, I mean in the quarterback's mind and in the receiver's mind, because you got to be smart. What he lacks in size, he makes up for it in playmaking ability.
Exactly. And playmaking in terms of interceptions, but also after he makes the interception, his return yards and his returns for touchdowns. He had
6 touchdowns, right?
6 returns for touchdowns
Crazy.
among 18 interceptions over his career. I mean, he had 13 the last 2 years. And again, that's James Madison. It's a smaller school, but still. And you saw it, you saw it in practice. He ended practice one of the first days by jumping a route that, Haskins was throwing and walk off pick 6. The teammates were going insane. That was kind of like our first, okay,
this guy's good.
Welcome, Jimmy Moreland.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then there was another one. It was towards the end of, I think it was towards the end of minicamp, another goal line red zone drill. And Cam Sims caught the ball near the goal line, and it was a similar thing where he just somehow got his hands on the ball and picked it off and started running the other way.
It's crazy.
And
I don't get it.
Gruden started yelling. He's like, oh, that's number 5, Jimmy Moreland. The people are writing about you. So there has been a ton of hype surrounding Jimmy Moreland. Again, there's no pads,
Right.
which Gruden joked about in the beginning. He's like, oh yeah, Jimmy, this is good for you because you have no contact yet, and so you have to temper your expectations.
I put any kind of money that Darius in camp. When Darius gets a sweep to Jimmy Moreland's side, he's telling the lineman to clear the path.
He wants to show
one-on-one. Give me one-on-one with Jimmy Moreland. And that's when we're gonna see who the real Jimmy Moreland is. But right now he's impressing, and passing situations. Maybe he's a nickel guy that you put him in third and medium, third and long situations, just because you know that he's not the bigger guy, but know when the ball's in the air, he's going to make a play. So I'm pretty sure Ray Horton, Greg Minuski, all those guys, they're going to put him in the right situations to be the best player that he can be. And that's all coaching is putting guys in the right places at the right time to, benefit the team.
Yeah, and then just last point about Jimmy and kind of about a lot of the rookies is that even though, they haven't played an NFL game yet and they're still in the opening months of their NFL career, they believe that they belong. Like Jimmy, people ask Jimmy about, what's it like making all these plays? What's it like, doing this with the Redskins? And he just is like, I see the ball and I get the ball. Like if the ball's in the air, I'm gonna get it. And that's the same thing that Kelvin Harmon said. And it's similar things that Dewayne Haskins is saying. And they all seem. It's not that okay, I'm a rookie. Like I deserve some time to develop.
Man,
they're ready to get going right away.
Time waits for no man.
Exactly. So I don't know how that's gonna necessarily manifest itself in training camp and preseason, but just based on the weeks that we saw, it seems like there's a lot of promise, and it seems like all the draft grades that we had, it seems like it's warranted.
It is
at
very
least
warranted.
now. We'll see.
I feel like as a Redskins fan, for all the Redskins fans out there, I feel like they should be excited. I mean, this is one of the best off seasons that this team has seen in a while. I mean, we've had really good drafts in the past. But this year, with the hype, with the productivity that these guys are bringing, it's going to be a fun training camp. I think Richmond is going to be very fun this year. I mean, time waits for no man, like I said, and it's going to be it's 90 men on this roster, and so it's these are 8, 9 draft picks, so
10 draft picks.
10 draft picks.
Yep.
So they have to compete with 80 other people to prove that they belong. Of course, there's 10 practice squad spots, but I mean they have to prove with 80 other people that they belong in this team, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think a lot of these guys can fit in with the vets. We saw, at the rookie minicamp, these guys getting reps with the vets.
Yep.
And we saw a lot of these guys fit in. It's just a matter of, when those pads get on, when, training camps gets here, when, the preseason gets here, how do these guys fit?
Yeah, and like you said, there's 10 draft picks, but there's 80 other guys on the roster.
It's crazy.
And we've been talking about the rookies ever since they got drafted, and it's come to the point where, okay, rookies are here, but let's focus on the whole team.
Right.
So, we wanted to talk about the rookies right
Yeah,
away
first
because
one.
first podcast, and they were the new guys coming in. So, next couple weeks for training camp, we'll be, previewing
Position by
position per
position.
position. What could possibly happen in training camp. What have they done during OTAs and minicamp? Gabe's going to work on his pronunciations, I think.
Backer, bro.
I'm going to work on my
Backer.
jokes. Baker.
Okay. Not Baker. No pun intended.
I kill you, man. All right. That's all from me. Anything else before we
think-
wrap up?
I think that's all I have, Kyle.
I think you guys missed something on Jimmy Moreland.
What did
Talk
we
about
miss?
a guy with a personality.
Oh, I
That's-
asked him.
Yeah. Come
I
on,
asked him, I was
guys.
like, Jimmy's one of the most, and I know we just said we were closing, but we'll close after this.
All right.
Jimmy has one of the biggest personalities in this room. I think Jimmy Moreland is one of the funniest guys I've ever met.
Yeah, I can
think-
agree with that.
We did a park drive with him a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him, I was like, hey, if you can explain peanut butter and jelly without, I basically, so many words, I basically said, if you could explain jelly without saying the word jam or jelly, what would it be? And literally in an instant, he was like, smooth grease.
Smoothie grease.
Smooth grease. I was like, bro, back in my head, I'm thinking like, that's hilarious. Two, how did you think of that so fast? Like, he's so quick wit, and then testament to how he plays. I mean, he just on the spot, on the go. I got to make a play. I got to make a suggestion. I got to do what I got to do.
And
But-
there's more stories too
Oh, my
on
gosh.
Jimmy Moreland.
Oh, my gosh.
And a lot of the other guys. We get to
Oh, yeah.
we get to be around them all the time, so you kind of get to know them a little more as people.
Right.
But we'll be getting into that.
Yeah.
We got a couple weeks before training camp, more
Long golf
episodes,
season.
more position groups to delve into. So
Yep.
hey, man, I'm excited to get started with this.
It was a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure. So for Kyle Stackpole, I'm Gabe Henderson, and this is The Rundown.